Welcome to Imprint, a podcast about creating a home and life you love. I'm Natalie Walton, an interior designer, stylist, and best-selling author focused on an holistic approach to homes. Each week, I'm sharing insights and interviews about the creative process to help you enhance both your interiors and well-being, as well as provide you with the tools and resources to make considered and sustainable choices with all that you create. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Imprint. I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with you today about a question that I was asked recently. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say, if you are a new listener, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. If you want to make sure that you don't miss an episode, make sure that you hit the follow button wherever you are listening to this today. And if you are a long-time listener and you have yet to leave a review, please, I'd appreciate it if you can leave a 5-star rating and or review. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, the question that I was asked was, is the market saturated? And this was in relation to someone wanting to pursue their dream in relation to interior design. Now, this is a great question, and it's one that comes up a lot. I think it's one that comes up in many different ways. And so what I was thinking about in relation to answering their question was really, it comes down to this idea about how sometimes we need to think big when we feel small. We can all go through times in our life where we can feel fear, when we can feel and experience doubt about our abilities, when we can feel like we're a bit of an imposter. Who am I to put myself out there? Who am I to do this? Who am I to share on Instagram? Who am I to charge money for my services? And it really can show up in so many different areas of our home, our business, and our life. And so often in these situations, I come back to that beautiful quote from Mary Oliver, who says, "What are you going to do with this one precious life?" And when we look back on our lives, what do we want to think and how do we want to feel? Are we going to regret more what we didn't do than what we did? Are we going to regret putting our dreams on hold rather than maybe trying something and it not quite working out maybe exactly how we planned? I'll give you a little tip straight off that even if something doesn't quite go as we planned, whatever it is, whether it is the renovation of our home or it is the way that we grow our business, we can pivot, we can change, we can adapt as we go along. So there is so much available at our fingertips to ensure that we do actually achieve the goals and the dreams that we have. And they can change and evolve over time too. But I think that that is a far better situation for us to be in than be looking back on our life and thinking, I didn't even try. I just let that dream die on the vine. So what I wanted to do was share 7 ideas with you on how you can think big when you feel small. And first of all, I just want you to know that you are not alone. This is something that I see over and over and hear over and over again inside my programs, the Styling Masterclass, and inside Design and Grow when I'm speaking to people within those programs. And it's a common theme. So you are not alone. But what I want to do is give you some really practical strategies to overcome this, because you have been given a dream for a reason. You have got something on your heart for a reason. And I really want this to be encouragement for you to reconnect with that dream, reconnect with your desire, and move out of fear and into action. So the first idea that I want to share with you is that it is so important to create a vision that scares you a little. And when we create a vision that scares us a little, it kind of gives us that feeling on the inside, like we're we're kind of excited, but we're nervous and we're not sure what's going to happen. And what happens is that this is an example, this is letting us know that we are actually growing. We are learning and growing. We're stretching ourselves and we're doing something that feels a little bit uncomfortable, but that is when we grow. And there is so much good that comes out of growth. Anyone who's achieved anything in their life has had to do this. And there are ways that we can do it that doesn't feel too yucky, but we still need to stretch ourselves. I know I've had so many examples and instances of this in my own life. I've had it when I have reached out to homeowners to have their homes featured in my books. And when I think, oh, I don't know if they're going to say yes or not, and I felt really nervous about this. I had that feeling when I submitted my proposal to a publisher. I had that feeling before I met the publisher. I have had this experience over and over again. And every time I've done it, I have grown. And it means that I have been able to go that little bit further the next time. So some things that were almost unimaginable to me when I was at the start of my journey, now I don't even think about them. And because it's like a muscle, stretching yourself in this way, it's like a muscle. And over time, it gets easier and easier. So you've just got to start stretching yourself with some of the goals that you have and putting yourself in a slightly uncomfortable situation, because that is when you are going to grow. So, and this also relates to our homes as well. It relates to creating a vision that is really clear and compelling and exciting to sort of encourage us to keep taking those steps forward. The second idea that I want to share with you is that it's really important to connect with your vision daily. This, again, is something that I was recently talking to a student inside Design and Grow, and she was saying that for the first quarter of this year, she has been looking at her quarterly goal, because we've been breaking down the annual goals into quarterly goals, and she has been looking at that quarterly goal every single day. And what happens is that when you look at your goals every single day, you are connecting to it. You are really clear on what you are doing, where you're going, and why you're going there, and how you're going to get there. And this is why it's also important to make sure that when you set a goal, that it is actually really clear and specific. It can't be vague. It can't be, I would love to do this kind of vague thing. I would love to be an interior designer. Maybe that's what you're saying to yourself. I would love to be an interior designer, or I'd love to open a shop. So you need to break that goal into very clear action steps that you can take, because then you know if you're on the journey, if you're actually making it happen. So maybe if you want to be an interior designer, it is, I want to have 3 clients by the end of the year or by the end of the quarter, whatever it is for you. So getting really clear and very specific with numbers will really help you have something to aim for. Because if it's really general, it's easy to give up on that, because you'll think, well, I'm still working on it. And it becomes this really vague thing rather than actually getting results. So connecting with it on a daily basis is really important. The third idea that I want to share with you, if you are feeling small, you have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and you need to start thinking bigger, is that you really need to protect your energy and set boundaries. So you need to protect your time, you need to protect your energy, and you need to protect yourself from people who are thinking small, who are shying away from their life and their dreams and their goals. And when it comes to your time, there's a very practical way that you can do this. So there is something called the Eisenhower Decision Matrix. And basically, it is like if you were to put 4 Post-it notes in a grid-like pattern. So you have one top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. And so the things in that top left post-it note, I mean, you could even do this or, grab a piece of paper and a notebook and kind of divide it into 4, is those are the tasks that are important and urgent. The top right-hand post-it note is for tasks that are important but not urgent. Bottom left post-it note is for tasks that are not important and urgent. And bottom right is not urgent and not important. So the things that are not urgent, so they don't have to be done now, and they're actually not that important, you can just delete those. You can just take those off the list, forget about them. These are just things that your brain's probably worrying about that actually aren't that important. The things that are bottom left, which is they're not important, but they're urgent, then think about, can you delegate those tasks? Can someone else do them for you? Top right is they're not urgent, but they're important. So you need to decide, schedule a time to do them. And top left, urgent and important, do. So these are the things that you need to do now. So if you were to visualize these post-it notes in a square grid, or like I said, on your notebook, top left is do, top right is decide, bottom left is delegate, and bottom right is delete. So it's so important that of all the things that we can do with our time and energy, that we actually work out where we need to put our time and energy, because we can spend a lot of time doing things that are not important, or that they, we think that they're urgent, but they actually just distract us from the things that we actually really need to focus on, and they are going to help move the needle with whatever our goals are. It's really important as well, like I said, to protect your energy. And energy and time are so closely related. Now, this could look like for you getting a good night's sleep. I've spoken about this many times before on the podcast, but honestly, if you are not sleeping well, have a week where you are getting 8 hours sleep a night, and then go over your goals and your dreams and the things that you really want to have happen in your life again. Really prioritize sleep. My husband, he actually goes through phases of not getting good sleep, and he's just been doing the simple thing of literally having chamomile tea before going to bed, and he's finding that so much better. I don't really struggle with going to sleep or sleeping throughout the night. I mean, I can sometimes go through times and seasons where I might be up late, but once my head hits the pillow, I don't have any issues with sleep. But I know that when I get consistent good sleep, I can make so much better decisions. It is so much easier. Life feels easier. I've got so much more clarity. So get more sleep. It's so important. Okay, so number 4 is to borrow confidence. If you want to have, big goals for your life, but you feel small, then borrow confidence. So how do you do this? So you can join or create a support network, people who have got similar goals or dreams to you. There are so many different ways that you can do this. You can do this with people in your local community who, if it's a business goal that you've got, you can connect with them. If it's some other kind of goal, you can connect with them around that topic as well. There are obviously online forums and communities around these topics. So really look for ways that you can connect with people who are on a similar journey to you. And what you lack in confidence, make up for with your commitment. I'm going to say that again. What you lack in confidence, make up for with your commitment. So what does this mean? If you don't feel confident, just be committed to the thing that you're trying to do. If you are committed to it and you apply yourself to that consistently, you will start to get results And when you get results, you will start to feel more confident because you will start to have evidence that you are moving closer towards your goal. So when you commit to something and you take action, you are going to start to feel more confident. We don't feel confident when we're just sitting on the sideline and we are struggling to make a decision, or we're holding ourselves back, or we're worrying about what everyone else is doing. We can't live into confidence then. We only get confidence when we start to take action. And if you know that perhaps you are a hard worker, then lean into that, because you can work hard, you can dedicate yourself, you can make that commitment to yourself, and that will give you the confidence. Just quickly, if you're new to me and the podcast, I have 4 books that I've created for you to help break down the biggest lessons I've learned over the past 15 years working in the interiors industry. The first, This Is Home, has more than 1,000 5-star reviews on Amazon and has almost a perfect score, and more than 5 years since its release continues to be a bestseller for interior and home design on Amazon. I share this because I've put thousands of hours into creating all of my books. I put my heart and soul into each one to help you on your journey to creating a home that's beautiful and authentic and makes you feel good every time you step through the front door. This Is Home is part of a trilogy that includes Still, The Slow Home, and Style, The Art of Creating a Beautiful Home. So I encourage you to check them out if you haven't already. And Home by the Sea, my 4th book, includes my own home and is all about loving where you live. I hope you find them valuable and they help you on your journey. You can buy them on Amazon or support your local bookseller. Now back to the show. Number 5 is kind of borrows on that a little bit more, which is focus on action. So I want you to focus on data, not drama, because the data will give you information about what you can change, what you can do. So if we go back to the original question, which was, is the market saturated? Look at the data, not the drama. Look at what is happening around you. Look at what you've got results in. Look at what other people are doing out there. And look at what you're doing. And ask yourself, did that work? What can I adjust? How can I adapt? How can I work with this information and make decisions going forward? We actually did this earlier today. It was really interesting. We were looking at the data for my shop, Imprint House, and breaking it down into online sales versus retail sales versus trade sales. And in my head, I thought that the retail was going to be much, much lower than what it was. I thought that trade was going to be higher and retail was going to be much, much lower. And I was actually surprised, and it completely changed the way that we are looking at our strategy going forward, because it was actually a much better position than what we were expecting it to be, because we were looking at the numbers. It was not about what I thought it was going to be. And when you actually look at the numbers, it really gives you an instant answer. It is so much easier to make decisions when you actually look at the data and take out the drama. Number 6 is to make your vision bigger than you. So it can really help when you have got something on your heart, when you've got a goal or a desire, to think about something that is bigger than you. So it's not just about yourself. You're getting out of your own head, you're getting out of your way, and you're thinking about, maybe your dream is that you would love for your husband to be able to retire from his job, because maybe he doesn't love his job, and you would love for him to retire from that job and that you could live off your income. Or maybe you really want to put your children through college. Maybe you would love to help your parents out. Maybe they want to pay off their mortgage, or they want to move closer to you. Think about what ways could you pursuing your dream have a broader impact beyond you. Maybe it's a charity or some cause that you feel really passionate about, that you would really like to create an impact with that, and how you can help others. I mean, I know for me, I truly love helping other people who are on their journey to creating beautiful interiors and a business that they love. Because when I had that on my heart, I didn't know where to start. And I knew nobody else who was doing that. And I really had to piece it together. And so I get so much joy out of helping others who are, on that journey, on a similar journey to what I was, and I'm further ahead of them on that journey. And I just get so much joy out of that. I really love it. I mean, I could talk about it all day. Don't worry, I won't. But, think about when you are focused on something that is bigger than you, it's amazing how all those, hang-ups that you might have in your head, all those stories that you have about yourself, it becomes less about you and it can be more about someone else or something else, whether it's helping someone else or working towards a cause that you feel really passionate about. And number 7 is to really embrace an abundance mindset. So if we go back to that first question, which is the market saturated? There are always going to be reasons, there are always going to be thoughts in our minds that are going to tell us that right now is not a good time. It's not a good time. I mean, you could say, this popped into my head when I was jotting some notes about this episode. And I was thinking about podcasting. And some of you I know listen to the Huberman podcast. Now, Andrew Huberman, he came onto the podcast scene a couple of years ago. And he came onto the scene at a time where podcasts, you could say it was too late to start a podcast. I mean, they've already been going around for a very long time. The same with, I think Mel Robbins has got a phenomenally successful podcast. And in the course of a year, her podcast has also become one of the most successful podcasts. Now, neither of these people are celebrities. One of them is a scientist and one of them is a speaker. She's a speaker on the circuit. But she's not a celebrity, and she doesn't talk about celebrity things. She talks about things going on in her life and so on. And you could say that to both of them, the market's saturated. The podcast market is saturated. Why would you start a podcast now? There's no room. Everything's being covered. There's no more ideas out there. But just look at what they have created. They have created, both of them, something quite phenomenal. They have, in the space of 1 to 2 years, gone from having no podcasts to be having like millions of downloads for their podcasts. Now, you might not want to start a podcast. Maybe you just want to be an interior designer. Maybe you want to be an interior stylist. And that is something that you want to do. And you might think the market is saturated. There are already too many people out there doing what I want to do. But there are billions of people on this planet, and nobody can do what you do. Nobody can come with the perspective that you bring. And so I know it has been said many times over, but there is only one you. So nobody can do it in just the same way that you can do it. And so your brain will look at all the reasons why the market is saturated, or why you're too old, or why you're too late, or all the reasons why it's not possible. But it's important to always, always give our brain reasons why something is possible and why you are actually perfectly placed to help somebody else. And literally do that. Write down, 10, 20 reasons why now is actually the best time. Why now is a great time for you to pursue your dreams. Why you are perfectly positioned to do this. I've shared it before, but I'm always in awe of oh gosh, I've got a mental blank about her name, from Where the Crawdads Sing. I think it's Delia Owens. She was 70 when that book was published. Somebody could say, oh, if you haven't published your first novel by the time you're 30 or by the time you're 40, just forget about it. Somebody could easily say that. And this was her first fiction book at the age of 70. There is always time, and there is always room for you. There is space for you. So some other little just tips on this that I did also want to share as well is that when you're having those times where you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your ability, you're doubting what you can contribute, make sure that you have somewhere where you record positive feedback that you get from people, and that you can go back to that space, whether it's in the notes app of your phone or in a journal, whatever it is for you, somewhere that when you're having those days where you doubt yourself, that you can kind of go and get like a little positive, a positive reinforcement hit. You just go and have a look at these positive comments or notes, and you can do that. And also use comparison in a healthy way, rather than looking at it and thinking it, look, they're so much better than me, or they've got money, or they've got, a wealthy partner or wealthy parents, or looking at all of these things and all the reasons why they're really capable of doing this and you're not. Instead of doing that, compare yourself backwards. Look at how far you have come on your journey and how much you have already learnt. Because wherever you are on your journey, you have still learned so much, and you've got so much to give. So, like I said, for me personally, one of the things that helps me the most when I start to have these moments of doubt about what's possible, or, whether I should show up, or what my role is, or, all of those things. We all have this. One of the things that I find the greatest help is to really think about the person that I'm helping. Because I know right now there is someone listening to this podcast, and it could very well be you, that really needed to hear this. And even as I'm recording this podcast, if I'm really honest, I think, do people really want to hear this? Do people really need to hear this? Is this something that they've heard before? And do you know what? I know that there's someone out there, and they have heard this message before. They've heard it in many different ways. But today, it's just sunk in that little bit deeper. Or today, it's just given them that courage to go, you know what? I'm just going to keep trying. Or today, I'm going to make that call. Or today, I'm going to send out that email. Or today, I'm going to do that Instagram post. Because they've just had that little bit of encouragement to take that step. And I hope that's you. I really, really hope it's you. Because when I'm doubting myself, I just focus on that person out there who really needs to hear this, and who I hope that I can help. Because I know that there are people who've really helped me on my journey, and I hope that I'm doing that for you. So just to quickly go over the 7 ideas that I wanted to share with you today to how you can think big when you feel small. So the first is to have a big vision. Create a vision that scares you a little. Number 2 is to connect with your vision daily. Really, whether it is writing it down in your journal, whether it is visualizing it, all of these things have been proven to work, but connect with your vision daily. Number 3 is to protect your energy and set boundaries. Protect your time, protect your energy, protect yourself from people who maybe don't have, the same viewpoint in life as you have. And really, protect that. It's so important. Number 4 is to borrow confidence. So remember that what you lack in confidence, you can make up for with your commitment. Number 5 is to focus on action. Focus on the data, not the drama. Number 6 is make your vision bigger than you. Focus less on yourself and more on the person or the people or the causes that are close to your heart that you can help. And number 7 is to embrace an abundance mindset. So give yourself reason why you are perfectly placed to go out there and pursue your dreams and do the thing that's really on your heart. Why the market isn't saturated. Why right now is actually the best time for you to move into action. I hope that this has really been the message that you needed to hear today. And if you know of anyone who really needs to hear this, then please share it with them, because I think we all have days where we struggle, or we all have seasons of doubt. And I just want you to know that that's what it is. It is a season. It is a day. It is not tomorrow. And I just want to let you know that, we've all been there. I've been there. I definitely have days of this. And, sometimes these episodes are as much a reminder for me as they are for you. And I hope that this has really helped you. So thank you so much for listening today. And I hope that you have a beautiful week. All of the links and info for this episode are at nataliewalton.com/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get a direct download of the latest episode. And I really appreciate when you take a minute to rate and review, as well as share the love with someone you know who might benefit from this episode, or on social media. If you'd like to access a range of free resources, come visit my website, nataliewalton.com. Thank you to Jaeger Media for producing this podcast. And I would also like to acknowledge the people of the Bundjalung Nation where it was recorded, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I look forward to connecting again soon. I'm Natalie Walton, and you've been listening to Imprint.